I'm going to give you 5 foods that are high in potassium to help your blood pressure that have 0 sugar. Now, in a recent video, I was eating these. These are organic dried apricots. And only 5 apricots has 110 calories and 520 milligrams of potassium. The reason you want to eat some potassium or potassium-rich foods is because it will significantly lower your blood pressure. Potassium is the key ingredient to allowing your body to have low blood pressure, or at least normal blood pressure for many people. And some of the drugs, the actions that they have is to help your body retain potassium. So a logical person would think that if I'm taking a drug to increase the retention of potassium, why not just eat a bunch of foods that have potassium? And that is a smart person. So let's go over the 5 foods. And the reason we're doing no sugar is because I'm going to say that 80% of all the complaints about that video, because I was eating apricots, was, well, I can't eat that because I'm diabetic or I have kidney disease and I don't want to eat foods with sugar. And I respect that, so let's get into number 1. Now let's keep in mind that number 1 is an avocado. An avocado is a great food. I don't really consider this a snack food for myself, but an avocado has 345 milligrams for a half an avocado. So in theory, if you ate the entire avocado as a snack, then that surely beats apricots because number 1, it doesn't have sugar and it's got 700 milligrams of potassium. So kudos to the avocado. Number 2 is any type of fish. 4 ounces of salmon, mackerel, tuna, snapper or halibut has about 400 milligrams of potassium. When I want a snack, I'm not snacking on tuna or salmon. These are things that take some preparation. That's why I gave you the example of the apricots or any type of food like that. But nonetheless, a serving size of fish, 4 ounces, will give you 400 milligrams of potassium and 0 sugar. Number 3, yum, clams. A serving size of 5 clams has 210 milligrams of potassium. Now, keep in mind as a comparison, and I'm not trying to sell you on this, but it's pretty convenient, 5 apricots gives you 520. Now, I'm not trying to sell you on the apricot, but there are ways to reduce the sugar effects of an apricot. I made that in my other video, but you know how YouTube is. People get about 10 seconds into a video and they start making their comments and they don't watch the entire video. But at the end of that video, I gave you solutions of how to reduce the effects of the sugar in the apricot. So at the end of this video, by the way, I'll put it here, right here on the right. So if you didn't see it, you could go ahead and watch that video. Chicken breast, 3 ounces of chicken breast has about 330 milligrams of potassium. And final food that has potassium in it, but no sugar, would be a sirloin steak. 3 ounces of a sirloin steak has 315 milligrams of potassium. So why do you want to eat these foods that have high potassium? What's the purpose of it? How does potassium lower blood pressure? It does it in a number of ways. Potassium has an effect on relaxing the inner walls of the blood vessels so that they become more pliable and thus the pressure goes down. Also, potassium stimulates the kidneys to excrete sodium. The less sodium, the lower the blood pressure. Also, potassium reduces fluid volume, so it acts as a diuretic, very similar to when you take a diuretic for blood pressure, which is a drug. Potassium does the same thing. Lastly, potassium plays a major role in maintaining our electrolyte balance. When our electrolytes are off, it can have negative effects on our blood pressure. Now, hypothetically, if you don't want to eat any of the foods that I recommended simply because maybe you're a vegan or you're trying to follow a whole food plant-based diet, but you don't want to eat those, but then you're concerned about the sugar, so you're not going to eat any fruits or vegetables that have potassium, then your only other option would be to take a potassium supplement. I'm an Amazon affiliate, so I'll put a link down in the description of some potassium supplements that you may want to consider. However, I would recommend just eating foods that are that have potassium. And again, I'll put a link down below because These are bloody delicious. You'd be shocked at how good these things taste. Now, because they're organic and they haven't been sprayed, they look like little prunes. Check that out. Looks like a little prune, but it's actually an apricot that's been dried. It's organic. I'll put a link in the description, and that way you can go ahead and eat them and lower your blood pressure.